You are listening to The Underground Subway with host David Alston, a podcast dedicated to giving you the strategies to live a free and better life. Here is David Alston.
Hi, I'm David Alston. I'm your host and conductor of The Underground Subway. This podcast is dedicated to one thing. It is dedicated to giving you the strategies, the tools necessary to live a better and successful life. My friends, you joined the right podcast at the right time, because no matter where you are, what you're doing, what life has offered to you, where you've been in life, how difficult, how good, no matter what, there's always hope for a better life. No matter what struggles you may have been in, are in, or about to go in, you can always come out successful. There's one lesson we must learn in life, that life is full of troubles. Life is full of issues, and either you've been in trouble, are in trouble, or eventually one day will be in trouble. But this podcast is dedicated to giving you the tools necessary, the strategies, the experience, the expertise of our guests to show you how you can activate the GPS of life, to show you where you are, where you're going, how long it's going to take you to get to your goals and dreams and destination. Then it's up to you, not me, not our guests. It's up to you to hit the go button and follow the directions that we laid out. Listen, Harriet Tubman said, I could have freed a whole lot more people if only they knew that they were enslaved. Are you living a life in which you have chains that are holding you back, chains that are restricting you, and you had no idea? By the time we finish this podcast, you're going to walk away saying, you know what? I may have been held back, but not any longer. I'm excited for this opportunity to share with you a special guest on the Underground Subway. I'm excited to have my guest all the way. He's currently in France, but he's from Auckland, New Zealand. His name is Liam Naden. And let me tell you a little bit about my guest before he comes on. Liam is a speaker, teacher, writer, and researcher. Liam Naden helps you to understand the process for creating true success in life by understanding how to use your brain the right way, overcoming your problems, achieving your goals, and ending frustrations. He is the host of the podcast, Using Your Brain for Success, and creator of Neuro-State Rebalancing, which is NSR, which is a process which automatically gets the four parts of your brain working the right way to bring you the life you want. Liam is also an experienced marriage and relationships coach. He's the host of the Growing in Love for Life podcast. He's the author of more than 20 books and the creator of 4 relationships coaching programs. I want to welcome to the Underground Subway, if you all will help me welcome Liam Naden. Thank you for joining us, my friend.
Hi there, David. Thank you for having me. Pleasure to be here.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Well, let's get right into it. Let's talk about life. Let's talk about some of the struggles or things that we all deal with in life. And most people that we talk to in life, they can understand their chains. They can understand the things that are holding them back in life or whatever. And then there's some people that don't really realize that they're held back. They don't really realize what the trouble is, because, and I refer to it as one of the things about me, what I do not like about going to the gym, and I'll go to the gym and work out, but yet I don't like to go to the gym and get on the treadmill, because I feel like if I'm going to exert that energy and walk, I want to be going somewhere. But most people, a lot of people are like the hamster on the wheel, in which they're going through life, the same cycle, and they don't realize that they're on something that's holding them back. In your opinion, Liam, and your expertise, your years of dealing with people, what's the one thing that you think holds nearly everyone back from living what we would call their ideal or the perfect life?
Well, the interesting thing, just to answer that question, how I answered that for myself, was in my mid-40s, I went from being a multimillionaire to losing everything and becoming homeless. And I literally had to move in and with my elderly mother and sleep on the sofa in her living room of her small apartment. And those were the very questions I was asking myself. What's holding me back? What's got me into this situation? Because all of the years prior to that, I'd been very successful. And I'd not only been successful, I'd studied success in all its forms. I did lots of courses and seminars and read lots of books on all sorts of different areas Yet it still didn't stop me from becoming homeless and from losing everything. And that struck me as rather odd, because if you do all of the work on understanding who you are and doing the goal setting workshops, or learning about how to change your beliefs or be motivated or how to overcome struggles and problems, how could you ever end up in a situation where you actually have no control over your life? So this struck me as really odd. But what happened after that was that my life, when I got through the mess, as it were, my life went in quite a different direction. And what I found was, instead of struggling for success, which I had done all the years before, I was always struggling, always trying to set bigger goals and achieve more and overcome my problems and find, bigger and better ways to be more successful. And I still, as I say, ended up losing it all. But after that, success, in a funny sort of way, sort of came to me. It started to come to me in the form of new ideas on things to do, rather than me struggling looking for ideas. I set up a couple more businesses, doing things that I really enjoyed, and I got new ideas. And different sorts of people came into my life as well. People who were a lot better for me, both personally and business-wise, and people who'd give me opportunities and ideas. So before long, I was actually living my dreams, really. I was much happier. I was making really good money, and I was doing what I loved to do. So the question I asked myself was, what was holding, and this is to answer your question, what was holding me back earlier that now it feels like I'm free? It feels like life is actually working. And I'm not struggling. I'm not dealing with problems and stress all the time. Sure, I have things I have to do. I'm working hard, but I'm loving it. I'm enjoying it. And I feel in the flow. Things are working. What's the difference? And so I went on this mission to try and understand what I was doing right, what I was doing that was working, because to start with, I wanted to make sure I kept doing it. I didn't want to stop doing it. So I had to find out what it was. And what I discovered, and remember, I'd studied all sorts of different things, from spirituality to self-help to religion, all of these different things. And what I discovered the difference was simply that I was using my brain in a different way. And the more I researched this and studied this and examined it not only in my own life but in other people, I realized that's the one thing that is holding people back from living their ideal life is understanding how to use their brain the right way. And that's literally all it comes down to, because, you mentioned troubles and struggle and all of those things. But something really interesting that I discovered was that we're not here to actually struggle. We're not here to have problems, because biologically, if you want to look at us as a biological species, who we are biologically, physically, we're here to survive and thrive. That is our biological purpose. We're here to do the best that we can to carry on the survival of the species through us being here. And it's the same with every other life form on the planet. All biological life has that function, to strive to survive and thrive. And of course, you have the best chance of survival when you're thriving. But what does thriving mean? Thriving means living without problems. Thriving means living without stress, without struggle. And in a really funny sort of way, the rest of nature doesn't have struggle. It doesn't have stress. And this is all backed up by biological science. This isn't just me making it up. But there really isn't any struggle in the natural world. There is life, there is death. But every creature, including us, is trying to strive to be its best. And for us as humans, because we also have an emotional and mental side, being our best also means being our happiest. So we're actually designed not to have problems. We're designed to be the best that we can be so that we have the best chance of survival. And of course, nature, as you'd expect, has provided us with something to enable that to happen. And what that is, it's a machine or a mechanism or an apparatus called our brain. And our brain is designed specifically to make sure that we survive to the best of our ability, which means to thrive, which means to be the best that we can be, which means to be happy. Our brain is designed to give us everything in our life to make sure we're happy. So what's holding us back is not understanding how that brain works. Because if we're not happy, all that means is we're not using the machine the right way. And I know this because I wasn't using it the right way. And that's what I can see that now. That's why I had so many problems. But if you think of the brain a bit like a car, I mean, everybody has a car, or most people do, and they know what a car is for. It's a machine designed to do a very specific task. It's designed to get you from where you are to where you want to go. And it does that predictably, efficiently, enjoyably for you so that you can enjoy the ride. And it just does its job. That's what that machine is designed to do. But if you get into the car and it's not working right, it's going to create problems if you're not using it the right way. And if no one's ever taught you how to drive, then you're never going to be able to get to where you want to go easily and enjoyably and comfortably, because you're never going to be able to use the machine the right way. And yet we're taught, well, if you want to drive a car, you need to have lessons. You need to learn how to drive it. But the most powerful machine of all, that's designed to give us our thriving life, if you like, no one's ever taught us how to drive that. No one's ever taught us how to use it. So when we end up with problems in our life, we don't know why. But it's simply because, like with any machine, it's not being used the right way.
Wow. That is interesting, but I want to go back to something that you said earlier, and I want to tie it in with the fact that you said we're not using the brain the right way. One of my favorite quotes is from a movie, Philadelphia, with Denzel Washington and Tom Hanks. And Denzel Washington says, well, explain it to me like I'm a 6-year-old. We're in the middle of some very difficult economic times right now. Gas prices, housing costs, everything is elevated. Explain to me, like I'm a 6-year-old, how your brain failed you, and how could you go from being because most people will say, if ever I hit the lottery, if ever I worked a job where I was a multimillionaire, I'd be set for life. Just give me 1 million and I'm set. Yeah. How did you go from being a multimillionaire to being broke, living on your mom's sofa? How did your brain fail you, or did other people fail you?
Well, what actually happened on a superficial level, or on an outer level, if you like, was it was the culmination of many bad decisions that I'd made, both personally and business-wise, and they all came to a head and culminated in everything going wrong at once, if you like. So, but really, the question I had to ask myself: why did I make bad decisions? Why did I make the wrong decisions? Why did I do things that created the wrong results for me? And it's because my brain, I wasn't using it the right way. I was using it in a way that made sure that I would make mistakes and that I would create problems for myself. And that's what I stopped doing later. And I didn't realize it at the time. I didn't realize that I'd stopped doing it. But I didn't realize I was using my brain in a different way. But that's what I back-engineered, if you like, when I said that I needed to figure out what I was doing differently. And that was the only difference. But that only difference makes all of the difference, because, as I say, your brain is designed to give you a happy life. It's designed to make you be the best that you can be so that you survive. That's a biological function. This isn't any sort of fancy idea. This is just pure biological science. So, yeah.
I understand. I was going to ask you, why do we have problems? But you mentioned that your brain was creating problems. Is that why we have problems in life?
It absolutely is. It's the inevitable. I mean, part of the problem is people hear that and they say, "Oh, it's all very well for him. He doesn't have my problems." And how can this Liam Naden guy say that I'm just using my brain the wrong way and that my problems are all my fault? But I think you need to step back and say, do you accept that biologically you're designed to be the best that you can be? That must be true. And if that's the case, problems don't help you. Problems don't help you be the best you can be. When you're stressed, you're damaging yourself, and you're not living to your best potential. So you're not giving yourself the best chance to survive and to live a long, happy, prosperous, creative life. So logically, it makes sense that problems don't enhance or contribute to your biological purpose. So there must be a reason why you have problems. It can't be natural. And it's because your brain is not naturally designed to give you problems. And that's the good news, because when you learn how to use your brain the right way, your problems solve themselves. And again, I know what your listeners are thinking. Oh, it's all well for this Liam Naden guy. What on earth? What's he smoking? but the fact is, I've been through all this, and I've proved it. And in my coaching and what I do now with Neuro-State Rebalancing, my other work, this is exactly how it works. It's scientific. There's nothing magical about it. It's pure science. And when I explain, and maybe I can explain to you simply how your brain works, I think people will start to realize that it is just like a car. It's just like a machine. And you don't need to know every last little bit, what every wire and things or lever does, but you just need to know a few principles as to how it works. Then you use it the right way, and your life turns out a lot better. Because you also made another interesting point. The world is full of problems. The world is only full, or your life is full of problems. I know people who don't have problems in their life. And so it's not everybody. So what are they doing differently? So problems aren't inevitable. And even if everybody's doing something one way, doesn't make it the right way. You know, if there's only one person who believes the truth or knows the truth, it's still the truth.
That's right. Well, we're going to take a quick break, everyone, and we'll come right back, and we're going to ask Liam how or what do we need to do? What's the easiest and the quickest way? Because we want everything fast. We're going to take a 30-second break. We're going to come right back, and we're going to ask Liam how we need to solve our problems.
Hi, this is Dr. J. Tyler Thompson, the chairman and CEO of Masterpiece Aviation and Sales. We are an FAA certified aircraft dealer and Boeing supplier seller. We were formed with the philosophy not to reinvent the wheel, but rather combine the experience and best practices to provide you, our clientele, with an excellent experience. I personally invite you to check out our website at masterpieceaviation.net, and whatever the need is, we're here to provide you with the aircraft of your dreams. We will exceed your every expectation. So give us a call at 513-402-0620 or send an email to sales@masterpieceaviation.net. I look forward to hearing from you very soon. Masterpiece Aviation.
Welcome back, everyone. Okay, Liam, before the break, we talked about problems. You know, we live in a society when everyone wants everything fast, quick now. When I work out in the gym, I really, for some weird reason, I don't know what it is. Maybe my brain is failing me. I feel as though if I couldn't fit the shirt before I work out, I'm going to work out and I'll fit it when I come back. And I don't because it takes a process. But we want things done quickly. Talk to us and explain to us what's the easiest and quickest way for us to activate that part of our brain or utilize that part of our brain to solve our problems, because now everyone doesn't have them. That's wonderful. Most of us aren't there yet. What can we do to get quick results for our problems?
Well, the first thing to understand is that there are no quick fixes. And in fact, wanting a quick fix is a sign that you're using your brain the wrong way, interestingly enough.
Okay. Good.
Because again, if you think about a car, if someone came along, so one of your kids came along and said, I want to drive the car, I want to go to a party tomorrow night, so tell me what to do so I can take the car. And you'd say to them, look, you don't know how to drive. Oh, that's all right. Just tell me what to do. What's the quickest way to do it to get me to that party using the car? You'd say, that's not the way it works. You need to learn how your car works and how to drive it, and you need to practice it. There is no such thing as a quick fix to driving a car. So whatever it is, this is one of the big problems, is that people are using their brain in a way that their brain is craving quick fixes, but quick fixes never work. You have to understand how something works and then use it the right way and then practice using it the right way. But it's not that difficult. So what I can do is explain how your brain works, and I've created a very simple model of how it works. And a simple way to explain how to use it the right way. And the funny thing is, it's a little bit like with a car, that if you got into a car and you didn't know what any of those levers were, but if someone explained to you, well, that's what this one does, and that's what this one does, and you use this one before that one, you go, great, now I know how to use it. Now, you wouldn't necessarily be an expert in actually doing it the right way, but at least you'd understand that that's the way it needs to be used. And that's a huge advance on having no clue and therefore creating problems by just trying to use it in a way where it's probably going to damage the car or you or both. So anyway, I'll just give you a quick rundown on how the brain works. As I say, this is all based on science. There's all sorts of technical words that can be used to describe this, but I've created a model which explains it very simply.
Okay.
So essentially, you have 4 parts to your brain, 4 brains, if you like. The first part is your thinking brain. This is the part that's on the top of your head, and this is the part that's obviously responsible for your thoughts. But the way this works is that this is the part that takes all of the information that you are gathering in every second of your life from your environment, so through your 5 senses. So everything you see, smell, taste, touch, hear, and all of your thoughts come in as information into your brain, and it gets stored in the thinking part of your brain. So this is like a library or a database of all of your knowledge, all of your experience, everything you've learned, okay? The second part of your brain is your feeling brain, your emotional brain. This is the part that's responsible for making you feel emotions. And of course, those emotions can be everything from feeling good, loving, excited, happy, to feeling stressed, worried, and afraid. This is all managed by your feeling brain, your emotional brain. The third part of your brain is your surviving brain. And this part's located in the back of your head. This part's responsible for managing everything about your survival. So it's all of the automatic things that you never think about for surviving, like your breathing, your heart rate, all of the organs, all of your physical makeup machinery, if you like, that's keeping you alive. This is managed by your surviving brain. And there's another part of your surviving brain that's really, really important. There's another aspect of your survival, I should say, that's managed by your surviving brain. And that is, every now and then when you're living your life, you might be confronted by an immediate threat or danger to your survival, something that jumps out at you unexpectedly and could harm you or even kill you. So, of course, there's the story of, you're in prehistoric times, you're walking through the forest and a lion jumps out from behind a rock at you. Now, what the survival brain does when it sees that is it activates something we've probably all heard of called the fight, flight, freeze mechanism, or the survival mechanism.
Right.
And it snaps you into a state to immediately do whatever it takes to get rid of that danger. So with the lion, you might shout out for help, or you might run away, or you might try and fight it. But whatever it is, it's a response from your brain saying there's an immediate threat to your survival, deal with it and get rid of it as fast as possible. And it's like a reaction that you have. It's not what you think about, but it's just what happens. So that's the third part. That's the surviving brain. Now, there's the fourth brain, and this is more relatively recently being discovered and researched by scientists who are understanding this part of the brain and realizing it's a separate part. And I call it the creating brain, because this is where all your creativity lies. This is where you get your intuition, your new ideas, your imagination, your motivation. This is where you feel really good, motivated to do things. This is where you think, and where you get those gut feelings about what you should do and what you shouldn't do, about making right decisions. It's also the part that has greater awareness, has greater awareness of who you are and what your situation is. And this is the part where you actually feel really good, because this is the part that's creating your life. You remember I mentioned that our purpose biologically is to thrive, is to be happy, is to be the best that we can be. And this is actually managed mainly by this creating brain. So it's creating the environment both within you and all of your systems and your emotions, and also in your environment outside of you, to make sure that you're the best that you can be and having the happiest life possible. So it actually even includes, and this sounds a little bit strange until you understand how powerful the brain is and what it does, but it also has the ability to manage your environment. So things we call luck, coincidence, synchronicity, chance events, People come into our life unexpectedly who are good for us, like the person we're going to marry or that business partner or whatever it is. This is all managed by our creative brain. These aren't random events. They appear random to us when we're operating from a low level of awareness. But from your creative brain's perspective, these are part of how it manages your environment to make you the best you can be. So the way you're supposed to live, the way you're supposed to use these four brains is, remember I said your purpose is to be happy all the time, is to be your best. So you're giving yourself the greatest chance to survive by thriving. So you do that when you activate your creative brain. And that's when you're feeling really good. You're in the flow. You're in the zone. You're making the right decisions. You're avoiding making the wrong decisions. The right people are showing up in your life. You're inspired with new ideas. New creative thoughts come to you. Artists and musicians composers talk about this, how, they hear the music and then they write it down. They don't know where it comes from. It's not from their thoughts, but it's from this creative place that we all have and that our brain is designed to ensure is the best for us, that our life is the best for us, not for anyone else, for us, so that we're happy and thriving. Now, there's only one time when you're not supposed to be like that, when you're not supposed to be feeling good, loving, grateful, resourceful, you're contributing to the world, you're being your best. There's only one time you're not supposed to feel like that, and that's when the lion comes running out of the jungle at you, because none of those things are of any use to you when there's a lion about to eat you. So what the brain actually does is it sends a signal, and it actually sends it through the thinking and then the feeling brains, and it says danger, and it activates some chemicals in your body to make you feel fear, worry, anxiety, stress, and that's a signal from your brain to say danger, immediate threat. So it kicks in this fight, flight, freeze mechanism to fight off the immediate danger. But what it also does is it puts all of your resources to dealing with that immediate danger. So it puts all of your energy into your surviving brain, this reactive state, and it shuts off your creative brain, because your creative brain is of no use in that situation. If you've got a lion about to eat you, you don't want to be looking at the flowers and saying how beautiful the trees are and all that sort of, you're going to be dead. So not only is the energy that it would otherwise use drawn in to be used to fight off the attacker, which you might need, but all of the resources and characteristics of that part of your brain are of no use, so they're shut down. And then, of course, as soon as you fight off the danger, you go back into the creative state. Sorry, yes.
Okay, yeah, I hate to interrupt you, but I thought about something while you're talking. Would you consider the lion jumps out? Would I need any part of my the creative part of my brain to create a way, to think about a way of escape? How would that play into which one of the four parts of the brain does that fit?
You're thinking.
The thinking. Okay, got you.
You're thinking. No, well, your thinking is too slow. You can't think. And you know that, say, if someone comes and running at, or a car comes at you, you've got to jump out of the way. It happens far quicker than you're thinking.
Right.
So your thinking is shut down as well, because your thinking is of no use. You don't want to be able to think. Right. You can't do it for an immediate threat. It's too slow. So all of those parts of your brain are shut down because they're not only not helpful, but they could harm you. If you could start thinking about the lion coming at you, you'd be dead before you even had a chance. It's too slow.
Right.
But the active brain, your surviving brain, that kicks in far more quickly than your thinking brain, and it deals with the threat. So you react. But here's the biggest problem, and here's where most people go wrong. When you feel fear, worry, stress, what your brain is actually saying to you is that you're facing an immediate threat to your survival. That's what your brain is interpreting. You've allowed your brain to interpret. So it's saying whatever is in your environment is going to eat you right now, or is going to harm you right now. And what's it doing? It puts you in that survival state, and it blocks off all of your creativity, all of your problem-solving ability. All of your resources to create your ideal life are shut down.
Wow.
You have no access to it. And people are trying to solve their problems in that state. So what do? They frantically try and write down what they should do, or they learn some more information, or they set some goals and they put in all this effort and determination. But all of that is not what that part of the brain is designed to do. It can't do it. All of your problem-solving ability is in your creative brain. And you can't access that when you feel fear, stress, and worry. So you can see I hear you chuckling.
I'm just so amazed that I'm chuckling because I'm amazed that and I'm sure many that are listening, who would have thought that stress is so similar to the lion jumping out at you? You're in the
It's
situation.
exactly the same thing.
I really never
Yeah.
thought about that. It's
That to
amazing.
your brain, it is exactly the same thing.
Wow.
Your brain is saying you are surrounded by danger. Now, it could be something on the TV news where a war is happening and you're feeling stressed watching it because you've trained your brain through all of your experience through your life that could mean that you could get killed. A war on the other side of the planet. And of course, the people on the TV are trying to convince you that you could get killed as well because they want you to feel bad. So you keep watching the TV, pay for the advertising.
Wow.
So, I mean, this is the fascinating thing, and nobody realizes this. So your enemy, when you realize this, it's a bit like driving the car. When you know how it works, you go, well, this is easy. All I need to do is find a way to stop me feeling afraid, unless, of course, it really is, I'm going to die here, right now, and it really is a danger. I need to retrain my brain, and it's not that hard. This is what I teach. It's not that difficult. There's two things you need to do, but I need to get my brain sorted so that it doesn't kick me into this gear through an imaginary fear rather than a real danger, an imaginary danger rather than a real danger. And then I can just access my creative brain, and it's going to make sure it's going to do what it's biologically designed to do. Give me a great life. That's what it's frantically wanting to do. It's got the capability to do. It just wants you to stop blocking it from doing it by getting into this fear state.
Wow.
Simple as that. Not easy, but simple.
Right. I mean, I am just blown away that, and we're out of time. I've got so many questions and notes, but sometimes you'll listen to a podcast or see something, or with me, I'll read a book and I can read one line in a book and just close the book and say, I'm done. It's like I've gained so much from that one line that I need to focus and meditate on that. I'm telling you, that last part about the stress and how our brain, the four parts of our brain, the thinking, the feeling, the surviving, and the creative part, it was like, okay, here's the whole podcast wrapped up in 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Who would have thought that? It's just amazing. And how they interact. Is it difficult? I mean, is it important for us to learn? I know it is. Let me rephrase that question. How important is it for us to really study and learn the four parts of the brain and how they interact?
Well, if you know that like a car is designed to get you from A to B and it'll do it perfectly, and you want to get from A to B, what else would you do but learn how to drive it? So the same with your brain. If you know the brain is designed to get you everywhere you want to go to have the most amazing life for you, why would you want to learn anything else? Because that's all you need to know. Everything else will fall into place when you're using the machine the right way. Your brain will make sure of that. That's what it's biologically designed to do.
Wow.
And it really is as simple as that. And what shocked me is no one had taught me this. No one had ever taught us this. We should be learning this in school.
Right, exactly. Well, Liam, we're out of time. I mean, I could just go
I'm
on.
sorry,
Time flies when you're having fun, and this has been almost like I felt while you were talking. I always have my whiteboard out, and I'm taking notes and everything. And I felt just like I was back in high school in front of the professor learning facts about life. This was just so powerful. Tell us something about you, or how we can access any material, or how we can contact you if someone may want to go deeper into what you were discussing earlier.
Okay, well, everything's on my website, which is just my name, liamnaden.com. And I've got a podcast there called Using Your Brain for Success, which you mentioned, where I go into a lot of detail about how all this works. So I'd really encourage people, I hope people think this is really important stuff to know about. So I encourage people to go there, and it's all there on my podcast. I also have a coaching program where I go into a lot of detail about how to actually really make the shift, get your brain working the right way. And it's all there on my website, liamnaden.com.
Well, my friend, I want to thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to join the Underground Subway. I really appreciate it. I appreciate your expertise, and your wisdom is just priceless and immeasurable. And I just want to thank you again for
Oh,
joining us.
thank you, David. It's been a real pleasure. Thank you so much.
And to all of our listeners, I want to thank you for taking the time to listen to the Underground Subway. I take it not for granted that you took some time out of your day to listen, whether you're on the treadmill at the gym or in the office listening with your AirPods, or whether you're driving in the car, or whether you're just at home listening through your Bluetooth speaker, wherever you are. I appreciate you. I appreciate your support of the Underground Subway. Well, I hear that sound coming. I hear the train pulling into the station. The subway is stopped. The doors are open, and it's time to jump off. But guess what? The next train will be rolling real soon. I appreciate you. I thank you. I value your opinion. I value your support. I value your subscription, your stars, whatever. I just appreciate you. Before the Underground Subway leaves the station for the next stop, I want to challenge you, my friends, to find a mirror before you go to bed tonight. Look yourself in the eye. Just stare at yourself and ask yourself a question. Today, did I do something to make this world a better place? Or did I simply waste another day? I'll see you next time right here on the Underground Subway.